In this video we'll go through the process of scoring a request for quotation that's had a manual variable attached to it. So what we'll do is we'll go into the event itself, so I'm going to select that event, and we'll go through the process of seeing the updates in the status. So you'll see here that supplier 23 has been invited and they're awaiting their response. So what I'm going to do is just simulate that response now. So I'm going to RSVP on behalf of that supplier, and when you do that you'll see that, that this will update for supplier 23 without changing anything on the client side. We'll just wait for that to change. Okay, there you go. So it says awaiting supplier onboarding. At this stage you can actually go into here and score the manual variable yourself. So if I go in, I can attach a score to the manual variable that I put into this. So I put a manual variable in here of reputation. This could be anything from brand, ease of business, whatever it is you want to score and have a weighting as part of this event, you can put in as a manual variable. So I put in reputation. So I'm going to subjectively score this supplier on their reputation out of 10. So I can score them 1 if they have a poor reputation, I can score them 10 if they have a good reputation. It's up to me. The reason we call it a manual variable is because it's my subjective opinion about this supplier. So I'm going to score this particular supplier 10 out of 10 because I think they've got a great reputation. Again, if it's something like ease of business, I could score them out of 10 for ease of business. If it was brand, I could score the brand. And it just always makes its way to the weighting in the event itself. So I'm going to approve that supplier. If you try and do this for supplier 22, you can see that they've been invited but we're still awaiting their response. So I'm going to click on that, and you can see I can't actually score this supplier until they've RSVP'd. So I need to wait for that supplier to do that before I can score them. Once all the suppliers have added their qualifying bid, you'll see the status change in the event itself. I'm just going to wait for that status to change. So these two suppliers have completed, and this final supplier is still waiting for their qualifying bid to bid for this particular bit of business. There you go, they're complete. Now I've also gone through and added our score for each of the suppliers. So I've scored this supplier 2 out of 10 for reputation. I've scored this supplier 10 out of 10, and I've scored this supplier 6 out of 10. Now they're subjective scores that I've given to those suppliers for reputation based on what I think, and I'm going to use those scorings now to make up the ranking in the event. So as you can see, again, I've got the event report here. Everyone's completed their task, so I can go to event report, and I can see here that everyone again has bid, I should say, the £20 per unit. So everyone has bid the same amount, but you can still see I've got a ranking. Why have I got a ranking of supplier 23 as number 1, scoring 100? Is because supplier 23 I scored 10 out of 10 for reputation. So you can see very quickly that you can use manual variables in Procurement Pal to rank your suppliers in events for anything you want to score them on. So we can see that if there's anything like reputation or brand or ease of business or anything you can think of that you can score suppliers on, you can use it as part of the ranking in the event. It's perfectly plausible for a supplier to have a higher price but have a better reputation, like this example, and therefore rank as number 1. It all depends on the attributes that you assign to the manual variables, and it all depends on the weighting that you assign to that variable and that price to determine which supplier is going to win. So completely customizable by yourselves when using the software. If there's any questions on this particular video, please email dan@procurementpal.com.